Across the globe, millions of people are lying awake in the dark. They are vibrating with the residual anxiety of the day, unable to quiet the relentless machinery of their own minds. To combat this insomnia, they do not turn to medication, and they do not read a book. Instead, they plug in their headphones, turn their screens to a low brightness, and participate in one of the most bizarre, heavily populated, and deeply intimate rituals in human history. In 1929, Sigmund Freud, the founding father of psychoanalysis, published a profound and deeply pessimistic book titled Civilization and Its Discontents. In the opening chapter of this text, Freud addresses a letter he received from a friend, the French writer Romain Rolland. Rolland argued that the true source of all religious energy was something he called the Oceanic Feeling. He described this feeling as a sensation of eternity, a feeling of being completely limitless, boundless, and entirely at one with the external universe. Freud, a strict atheist, rejected the idea that this feeling was divine. Instead, he theorized that the oceanic feeling was a deeply buried, primitive, biological memory. He argued that it was the psychological echo of the mother's womb. Before a child is born, it possesses no ego. It has no concept of self versus other. The infant in the womb does not know where its own body ends and the mother's body begins. Freud believed that birth is the ultimate original trauma. It is a violent, shocking expulsion from paradise into a cold, blindingly bright, and incredibly loud reality. Suddenly, the individual is separated. They must learn to breathe, they must cry out to be fed, and they must begin the agonizing, lifelong process of surviving as an isolated individual. When the modern landscape becomes too harsh, too isolating, and too economically or socially demanding, the human psyche violently craves that original pre-birth safety. The ASMR broadcast is the technological manifestation of that specific craving. It is not entertainment. It is a highly engineered artificial womb. To truly understand the depth of this psychological regression, you have to analyze the strict, unyielding architecture of the ASMR video. The environment is always aggressively controlled to mimic the exact sensory conditions of the embryonic state. First, consider the lighting. ASMR is almost never filmed in harsh, overhead fluorescent light. The visual environment is dark, warm, and enveloping. The colors are muted, heavily skewed towards soft pinks, deep purples, and warm ambers. The creator speaks in hushed, rhythmic, and highly repetitive tones. They offer a constant, hypnotic stream of unconditional affirmations. You are safe. It is going to be okay. You do not have to worry right now. Just close your eyes and rest.
Hi, hola, hey, hello, привет.
The most critical element of this architecture is the audio itself. ASMR relies almost entirely on binaural microphone technology. These microphones are literally shaped like human ears, allowing the creator to map sound in a three-dimensional space. When you wear headphones, the audio bypasses the natural acoustics of the room you are sitting in. The sound feels impossibly close, entirely intimate, and fully surrounding. This mimics the exact auditory environment of the amniotic sac. Inside the womb, a fetus is surrounded by fluid. They do not hear sharp, sudden, high-frequency noises. They hear the heavy, rhythmic thud of a heartbeat. They hear the swishing of fluids, the deep resonance of the mother's voice vibrating through bone and tissue, and the soft, repetitive sounds of biology. When an ASMR creator slowly taps on a microphone cover, scratches a textured surface, or creates mouth sounds, they are artificially recreating the acoustic landscape of the maternal body. The profound tragedy of this genre becomes glaringly apparent when you examine the specific scenarios these creators act out. The most popular ASMR videos on the internet are not just tapping sounds, they are role plays. In these highly produced scenarios, the creator simulates direct, personal, physical touch. They pretend to examine the viewer's eyes with a flashlight in a simulated medical clinic. They pretend to slowly brush the viewer's hair. They mimic the act of applying makeup to the viewer's face, or they act out a scenario where they are meticulously checking the viewer's scalp for lice. Why would millions of adult human beings actively seek out a video of a stranger pretending to check their hair for insects? The answer lies in evolutionary biology and primal grooming. In primate societies, physical grooming, picking through hair, soothing touches, close physical proximity is the primary method of establishing social bonds, reducing stress, and conveying maternal care. It is an instinctual language of safety. In the modern era, we have built a society that is entirely devoid of this primal, non-transactional touch. We live in isolated apartments, we work in remote, separated environments, we have replaced physical community with algorithmic feeds. The ASMR roleplay takes this devastating physical absence and attempts to fill it with simulated parental grooming.
I'm going to bring in a flashlight now. And I'll just come from the side. Just look forward. Straight.
When you place the soothing, repetitive whispering of a medical exam ASMR video next to the stark clinical reality of our modern epidemic of loneliness, the genre stops looking like a harmless internet quirk. It reveals itself as a terrifying symptom. The creator is looking directly into the camera lens, providing unbroken eye contact, something many viewers go days or weeks without experiencing in their waking lives. We are witnessing an entire generation substituting genuine romantic intimacy, robust family structures, and real-world community with a digitized, one-sided simulation of a mother's clinical protective gaze. If ASMR is the recreation of the mother's womb and the mother's touch, then we must confront the darkest aspect of this phenomenon, the economic reality of the transaction. We have managed to commodify the very concept of maternal love. The unconditional safety of the womb and the soothing care of a parent are supposed to be the only truly free, non-transactional elements of the human experience. But in this late-stage environment, that care has been placed behind a paywall. Many creators operate vast subscription services on platforms like Patreon. For a specific monthly fee, viewers can purchase custom ASMR.
On my Patreon, I have three different tiers. The first tier, you have access to three exclusive ASMR videos a month for only $5 a month. The other two tiers, you have access to daily exclusive ASMR content.
We have alienated ourselves so completely from each other that the basic human requirement for comfort must be purchased like a streaming service. We are buying a mother's lullaby. The sheer utter devastation of paying a stranger to say your name softly before you go to sleep because the actual physical world you inhabit is entirely devoid of that intimacy is a tragedy of epic proportions. The creator is not a mother, they are an entrepreneur. The viewer is not an infant, they are a consumer. The Oceanic Feeling is achieved, but it is subsidized by advertising revenue and monthly subscription charges. The profound, inescapable tragedy of Freud's Oceanic Feeling is that it is strictly temporary. The human mind cannot live in the womb forever. Biology dictates that we must be born, and reality dictates that we must wake up. Eventually, the video comes to an end. The screen fades to black. The comforting, binaural illusions of fluid and warmth vanish into the silence of an empty room. The headphones are pulled away. The harsh, unforgiving morning light filters through the blinds, violently breaking the illusion of the artificial incubator. The viewer is birthed back into the very reality they spent the entire night desperately trying to escape. They must put on their clothes, face the economy, face their isolation, and carry the agonizing weight of their ego for another 16 hours. ASMR is not a cure for our modern anxiety. It is a beautiful, tragic, high-definition monument to our collective, bone-deep exhaustion. It is a technological bandage applied to a gaping, infected psychological wound. We have built a waking reality that is so competitive, so cold, and so inherently traumatizing that our only relief is to simulate the state of never having been born at all. And until we figure out how to build a society that does not actively crush the human spirit, until we build communities that offer genuine touch, authentic care, and unconditional safety in the waking hours, millions of people will continue to lie in their beds every single night. They will put on their headphones, they will close their eyes, and they will desperately, silently beg the screen to swaddle them in the dark.